Welcome to the DIY Honda Garage channel. The DTC code P0351 corresponds to a malfunction in the ignition coil circuit for the number 1 cylinder in the 2008 to 2012 Honda Accord. Ignition coils are crucial components in the vehicle's ignition system, converting the battery's voltage into a high-voltage spark that ignites the fuel-air mixture in the engine cylinders. The number 1 cylinder is typically located at the front of the engine, nearest to the timing belt or chain. This cylinder's ignition coil is responsible for delivering precise sparks at the right moment. When there is a malfunction, it can lead to poor engine performance, misfires, and potential damage to the engine over time. Understanding this code is essential for effective troubleshooting of the ignition system. The error code P0351 indicates a malfunction in the ignition coil circuit, specifically for the number 1 cylinder. The ignition coil's primary role is to transform low voltage from the battery into a high voltage to generate a spark at the spark plug, igniting the fuel-air mixture for combustion. In the 2008 to 2012 Honda Accord, the ignition coil for the number 1 cylinder is located closest to the front of the engine. This positioning is strategic, as it allows immediate spark delivery for optimal engine performance. Circuit malfunctions can arise due to a variety of issues, including faulty wiring, poor electrical connections, or a defective ignition coil itself. Identifying the specific issue is critical for restoring proper functionality to the vehicle's ignition system. Several factors can lead to the DTC P0351 being triggered. First among them is a faulty ignition coil, which may fail due to internal short circuits or degradation over time. Poor electrical connections are another common cause. Loose or corroded terminals can interrupt the circuit, leading to incorrect electrical signals. Additionally, issues with the engine control module, ECM, or powertrain control module, PCM, can contribute to the malfunction by failing to send the correct signals to the ignition coil. Each of these causes can be systematically checked and ruled out during the troubleshooting process. Thorough diagnosis and testing are essential to pinpoint the exact cause behind this DTC. When the DTC P0351 is present, several symptoms may manifest, primarily affecting engine performance. A notable symptom is engine misfires, which occur when the fuel-air mixture fails to ignite correctly due to insufficient spark, leading to an uneven running engine. This can also result in poor acceleration, as the engine struggles to maintain power and efficiency. Additionally, drivers will most likely notice the check engine light illuminated on the dashboard. This light serves as a warning that the vehicle's diagnostics have detected an issue requiring immediate investigation. Recognizing these symptoms is vital for timely repairs and avoiding further engine damage. The first troubleshooting step requires you to turn the ignition switch to the on-to position. This position powers the electrical systems without starting the engine. Once the ignition is on, clear the diagnostic trouble code, DTC, using the Honda Diagnostic System, HDS. This process resets the vehicle's stored codes and enables you to accurately gauge if the issues persist after a potential reset. The next step is to start the engine and check for pending or confirmed DTCs via HDS. This check will help identify if the same DTCs reappear after a reset, indicating an ongoing issue that requires further investigation and diagnostic steps. In this step, after starting the engine, you will use the Honda Diagnostic System, HDS, to check for pending or confirmed DTCs. Look specifically for DTC P0351, as well as others like P0352 P0353, P0354, P0355, and P0356, as these indicate problems with the ignition coils of respective cylinders. If any of these codes are present, it suggests that the ignition coil circuit and related components are malfunctioning. If no DTCs are indicated, it may point to an intermittent failure within the system, suggesting that you should check for poor connections or loose terminals at both the ignition coil and the engine control module, powertrain control module, ECM, PCM. Identifying persistent codes is essential to move on to the next steps of troubleshooting. For troubleshooting step 3, turn the ignition switch to the lock 0 position to safely address the ignition system. Now, you will exchange the ignition coil from the specified problem cylinder with one from another cylinder that is functioning correctly. This coil swap is a crucial diagnostic technique that helps isolate the issue. If the problem follows the coil to the new cylinder, then replacing the ignition coil is necessary. After the exchange, start the engine again to see if the misfire or problem persists in the new location. Monitoring changes and behaviors in the engine following this step is necessary for determining the next course of action. After swapping the ignition coils, start the engine and check for pending or confirmed DTCs using the Honda Diagnostics System, HDS. This step is vital in determining if the ignition coil is faulty. If the DTC for the ignition coil appears in the cylinder you moved the coil to, this is a strong indication that the coil is defective and requires replacement. However, if the DTC does not appear in the exchange cylinder, this suggests the issue may lie elsewhere. In that case, you'll proceed to further diagnostic steps to explore other potential causes of the malfunction. Understanding whether the problem is isolated or follows the coil provides significant insights into the subsequent stages. For the 5th troubleshooting step, again turn the ignition switch to lock 0 to ensure safe handling. Next, you will check the number 13 ignition coil, IG coil fuse in the underhood fuse relay box. This fuse is crucial as it protects the ignition circuit from overload and shorts, and if blown, can prevent the vehicle's ignition system from functioning. Carefully inspect the condition of the fuse. Physical signs of damage, such as breaks or dark smudges, would indicate that it has blown and needs replacement. Confirming whether the fuse is intact will help guide you toward resolving the ignition issues effectively. After inspecting the number 13 ignition coil fuse, check its condition thoroughly. If the fuse is determined to be in good condition, you can proceed to the next troubleshooting steps. However, if the fuse is found blown, it will be necessary to replace it before checking further components. A blown fuse indicates potential overload, which may also suggest other underlying issues that need to be addressed. Understanding the status of this fuse is critical, as it can highlight whether the problem resides in the fuse itself or is symptomatic of a more complex issue within the ignition circuit. The 7th step involves removing ignition coil relay A, located in the underhood fuse relay box. The ignition relay plays a critical role in controlling power to the ignition coils. If it malfunctions, it can cause the ignition coils to fail to operate properly. After removing the relay, proceed to test its functionality. This testing will determine whether the relay is functioning as intended or if it needs to be replaced. If the relay is working correctly, you can move on to the next steps without needing a replacement. Understanding the relay's condition can significantly enhance the troubleshooting efforts and help isolate any faults in the ignition system. Once the necessary repairs are made, it is critical to verify that everything was done correctly and that the issues have been resolved. Start by clearing any diagnostic trouble codes, DTCs, using the Honda Diagnostics System, HDS, to finalize the repair status. It is also vital to take the vehicle for a test drive to monitor its performance under various driving conditions. During the drive, pay close attention to engine behavior, ensuring that it operates smoothly without misfires or loss of power. Observing consistent performance and the absence of warning lights indicates that the repair is successful. Verification is an essential step to confirm the integrity of the repairs. Preventive maintenance is crucial in ensuring the longevity and reliability of your ignition system. Regular inspections should be performed to check the condition of the ignition coils, wiring, and connections. Look for signs of wear, corrosion, or damage that may lead to future issues. It's also advisable to perform coil replacements at regular intervals or if issues arise, preventing sudden failures. Maintaining a clean and tight connection between the ignition coils and the corresponding harness ensures proper functioning. Keeping an eye on these components can greatly reduce the risk of malfunction and enhance overall vehicle performance. In conclusion, understanding the role of ignition coils and the implications of DTC P0351 is imperative for effective vehicle maintenance. Following systematic troubleshooting steps aids in identifying and resolving ignition system issues. Each step is critical and provides insights to isolate the malfunction to ensure precision in repairs. Regular inspections and preventive maintenance can mitigate the risk of future faults, allowing for prolonged engine health and optimal performance. By staying proactive and informed, vehicle owners can enhance both the driving experience and the vehicle's reliability. Please like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.